Welcome to the Urban Cowgirl Show.
Well, today we're starting our thread called Western Dressage. It's an extremely popular discipline now. There's been cowboy dressage, there's of course classical dressage, now there's Western dressage. So the first question that might come to your mind is, what is Western dressage? Going to Google, putting in Western dressage definition, here are two answers, but I'm sure there are many more. Western dressage, as the name implies, is a combination of both the equine worlds, the traditional Western horsemanship and classical dressage. Dee Bella is the president of the WDAA Board of Directors and states each discipline of horsemanship is time-honored. When you combine the philosophy and practice of each, you have a better Western horse and rider. The Western Dressage Association does have a website and was founded through the American Morgan Horse Association. Well-known trailer Julie Goodnight is one of the board members. The rules for Western Dressage have been submitted to the UCS by the American Morgan Horse Association. The website for WDAA is as follows, westerndressageassociation.com. I am very excited about what this organization can do for the Western discipline and its training practices, as well as bringing the two worlds together. Just this morning, I watched Julie Goodnight on RFD TV, and she was helping a rider train her seasoned trail horse to pick up a right lead. And that's what we're going to work on today. As you see Semi going by, my Morgan horse, all my horses are Morgan horses, you'll see that she's pretty good about picking up leads when we ask her to pick them up. But there are certain postures, body positions that you need to maintain if you're not getting the right answer. And then again, what are we aiming for with leads? Well, we love to do cow work here, and you don't worry about leads with cow work, but maybe we want to do a little dancing here too. We love to be partners with our horses. We love it when they understand our requests, and we love it when they're athletic. By dancing, I mean, can we get them to pick up a right lead, a left lead, every 1, 2, or 3 steps, like classical dressage horses often do. Very beautiful. It's almost like ballet dancing. So we're going to be working towards that. We have no idea how many shows it's going to take. Notice today we're in a Western saddle. There's all kinds of discussion about, can you do dressage in a Western saddle? Is the blanket and the saddle too thick to really get the message to your horse imperceptibly as you do in classical dressage? And generally speaking, the answers I read and hear are no. It has nothing to do with thickness of the blanket and bulkiness of the saddle. So we're going to be working with all different kinds of saddles, flat saddles, side saddles, Western saddles. I have a McClellan cavalry saddle. We'll even try it in that on my 3 different Morgan horses. And we'll see what the challenges are, and we'll show you some Western dressage here at Shadrack Farms. Now here is another answer to what is Western dressage that I found on Google. This is an interesting question regarding dressage versus Western dressage. Dressage means to train. Given this definition, anyone that is training a horse is doing dressage. In terms of classical or competitive dressage, to train takes on another level of training. I am not aware of the goals of Western dressage, but I will welcome any form of riding that properly trains the horse as an athlete with kindness and compassion. If we produce better riders due to Western dressage, then horses will suffer less because of the human ignorance, and we will have sounder and healthier horses for it. At a personal level, my riding changes little, whether I'm in a dressage or Western saddle. I may ask the horse to go differently, but I ride my horse with my seat and leg, adjusting my rein contact accordingly. The equipment is simply decor. Now I have another thread this season, season 28 of the Urban Cowgirl Show, all about my side saddle. So, you know, we're going to do it in side saddle too. It's, you know, a cross between an English and a Western saddle. But nevertheless, what's different, radically different about it? You don't have your right leg to give cues. But we use arm extensions. We use our seat. We use our body balance. We stay centered in the saddle as best we can by sitting a certain way in the side saddle. So all of those issues about saddle, decor, contact with the reins, imperceptible cues, and what goals you're trying to train naturally, compassionately, gently, is what we're going to be talking about in our Western Dressage thread. Now, Katie has a microphone on. Tell us what you're experiencing with Semi. She's my best cow horse. Seems to be doing leads for you, is she?
Yeah, she's picking up correct leads. I haven't gotten her to counter canter.
So. We've done a whole series of shows on that. It's a great way to slow down the canter. But can you get your horse into a counter canter, which some people say is the wrong canter? Actually, counter canter is a training tool. It means you're going to be taking the opposite lead that one would usually consider the correct canter. When we studied canter in the last couple years on my Morgan horses, we came to realize almost logically, it helps us to think logically, to remember the body positions and the body part positions of the horse that you want to get, that when you're trying to pick up a right lead going in the clockwise direction, then the haunches should go to the right. And why is that? Well, you want to make sure that your outside rear leg, which pushes off for the canter, is in position to push off for the canter. If you're not able to get the correct lead, maybe your outside rear leg is causing pain for the horse. That's the first thing you'd want to check. Maybe the horse just doesn't understand the cue. Well, if you want to pick up a certain lead in the next step or 2 steps from now and do this so-called dancing, as you often see in classical dressage, well, with practice, with repetition, you can probably get your horse to understand that we're not going to do the same lead all the way around the circle, halfway around the circle. We're going to do the same lead only for a step or 2. So let's do this. You're going counterclockwise now. You're going to want the left lead. Tell us as you're trying it, we don't know how Sem's going to do, but as you're trying it, what you're doing with her haunches, what you're doing with the arc in her neck, what you're doing with your reins and with your legs. And Katie does have spurs on so that she can make clear signals with her feet.
So since it would be the natural, sorry, she's getting concerned passing by those white holes. It'd be the natural lead for her to pick up, so just slight pressure with my outside leg.
At the cinch or behind the cinch?
At the cinch.
Okay, now if you're trying to get those haunches in, you might want to do a little bit behind the cinch.
Yes. If I was trying to pick up like the lead that wouldn't be natural for her, I would want to get the haunches over more.
She got the correct lead. Notice we're doing lead changes on the run, on the straight path. Oftentimes people say do it on in a figure 8 at the cross of the 8. That's really not a good reliable way to help a horse learn the cues for lead changes. So we're going to be working on straight paths. How'd it go, Katie?
Good.
Good. Okay, let's go the other direction. Tell us what you're doing.
So same thing, slight pressure with my outside leg when I ask for the canter.
Now her head is slightly arced to the outside fence. Yeah. And she seems to be able to keep her canter and her correct lead even though her head is slightly arced in what would normally be the wrong direction for a slight arc. If you're trying to canter, you, with the right lead, you want the neck to be slightly arced. There you go, on the right. And then that would normally result in the haunches slightly pushed to the outside fence or to the left. Oh, and she's going nice and slow.
Yeah.
Boy, when we work with Firecrest Easter Eve, you will see that we, I don't think we've ever successfully gotten her to do a canter that slow.
No.
It's an ongoing process. We keep trying to figure out how to slow her down. She just doesn't get the idea. Maybe counter canter will work. I don't think we ever tried counter canter on her. Okay, now let's do this. You pretty much kept the same lead.
Yeah.
Going the entire circle. I'm going to ask you to do this. Do half a circle with that lead, and then see, without changing direction, if you can get the other lead, which would be the counter canter.
Okay, do you want me to bring her down to a trot or just?
You know,
try
if
and
you
do
go
the
down to
flying
a trot, it's called a simple change. If that's the way you first have to teach it, fine. Let's not at first. Let's see if we can get the flying change into the counter canter. Otherwise, she's probably going to go down to her trot anyway.
Yeah.
And then your idea will be to see if you can cue her as imperceptibly as possible to us that no, we want the counter lead, the so-called incorrect lead that does have its training purposes. So about halfway through, she'll try to change. She just speeded up, huh? That's not unexpected. She just speeded up. She didn't understand. Nah, she's getting all stressed. Let's try the simple lead change then. Yeah, because she's getting stressed. We don't want that. We want it to be gentle. Semi will give us real good vertical flexion and be real calm and slow at our request, unless she gets right-brained. Okay, go ahead. What were you going to say?
We haven't ridden her in a while, especially in the arena. So
yeah.
She does need a little bit of a tune-up.
Right. We're just showing you today what we're going to do in our Western Dressage thread. We're just choosing one task that we'd like to perfect, showing you how it goes with Shadrach Triton Semi in a Western saddle today. You got it. She's got the counter canter. Sometimes though you have to watch for cross-firing. Ah, she switched.
Yeah.
Did she switch by herself?
No, well, I could feel her starting to switch, so I gave the cue to stay in, and then she just switched and speeded up.
Okay, because she pretty much is more comfortable in the correct lead, so to speak. All right, let's go the other direction, and then that's all we're going to do today. Maybe take her on a trail ride. She hasn't been out in a while. Ah, you had it. And then she skipped. Did you feel that?
Oh.
Okay, let her know she gave you the wrong answer. And by the way, when she gives you the right answer, give her a real nice pets and rubs on her neck.
Easy.
They really appreciate that. At the Horsemen's Reunion, Craig Cameron met Bobby Ingersoll. And Bobby said to Craig, you know, I noticed that when you got the right answer, you gave them real nice, gentle, clear reward. And that's so important. People sometimes don't think about that. Katie and I went to the Horsemen's Reunion. We loved being there. 40 colts, 20 very, very famous natural horsemanship trainers, starting them in a period of, I think it was 6 days.
Hey, calm down.
So we're going now clockwise. She wants to pick up the left lead. Let's see if Semi can understand. Nope, you got the right lead.
Easy.
Back down. Get that. Those haunches in. Now, misunderstanding. You see how stressed she got. She wished She doesn't want to be stressed. She wishes she understood. She just doesn't yet. And that's okay. We show you every step of the way here when we're trying to teach something within parameters of safety. Try to tell us what you're trying to do, Katie, when you do that.
She just keeps bolting every time we're walking parallel to the fence, thinking we're supposed to pick up the canner immediately. So I just went right and stopped her that time.
Okay. Now you're the rider, you're feeling the stress. You're gonna choose, well, if we can't get it today, you know, you're gonna go back to something where she is giving you the right answer, and we're gonna choose our moment of resolution. Look at her swish her tail. That's not good. That's either attitude or discomfort.
Good girl.
Good girl. That's good. Very nice. And by the way, use that back command whenever you need to get her focus. Didn't get the counter canner. Were you trying?
Yes.
You were. Okay. Why don't you do this? It's up to you, but I'd say ask her for the correct lead, the right lead, and then let's let her quit. We know that in the clockwise direction, we're having trouble getting the counter canner. Yeah, good. Back, 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 back.
Back. I think she's just getting stressed, and when I am asking for the canner, she's pushing out of the having her hips over right away and just switching into the correct one.
Good. That's the kind of analysis we're going to do with each and every session. If we are getting the right answer, you'll know what we're trying to do. If we're getting the wrong answer, we'll try to analyze why it's not working. Oftentimes, when you're watching instructional videos, you only see when it's working. And we don't do that here at Shadrach Farms. We show you when it's not working too, because we know it's going to happen to a lot of people. We could also work in smaller circles, let's say half the arena. Maybe next time we'll try that. This isn't a large arena, but it's not a round pen. She looks good. You look good. The wind's coming up. Weather has a lot to do with training and focus.
Easy. So do you want me to pick up the left or the right lead right here?
I think at this point in the training, I'd say pick up what you think you can successfully pick up. Let's quit the lesson, give her a great deal of reward for having given us our moment of resolution, and review next time, and maybe with the help of YouTube, with the help of the Western Dressage Association website, we'll have some better ideas that we haven't come up with from our decades of experience that each of us has had here, that we haven't come up with from other disciplines, from other training accomplishments. You know, what is it, Western Dressage? Is it cowboy dressage? Is it classical dressage? Is it Western riding? That's what this definition, of these definitions, kind of insinuated. Good. Nice. Nice. When you're ready, give her a nice whoa.
Steady. Oh.
And rub her, not pat. Rub, 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 rub. Pat Pirelli says, don't pat. Rub. Good.
Ooh.
All right. Well, you've seen our first attempt at Western Dressage, and I hope you'll watch a whole bunch more. You're seeing Sarah on Sadie. This is baseline behavior for Sadie and our objectives for Western Dressage. Sadie is my youngest Morgan, Eve's daughter. And Sarah comes from an English background, so she's using her English saddle in Western Dressage. Well, is that logical? Now, just before we came out here, I looked up on the internet and then printed it out. And I'm going to show you in front of the camera, 8.5 by 11, 1.5 single space pages. What is Western Dressage? And while we're watching Sadie's present baseline behavior, you know, her arc, her speed, is she able to pick up the lead that Sarah's asking for? I'm going to read just some critical things about this What is Dressage article. Bringing the idea of Western Dressage to life has been a process. There were and continue to be many questions to answer. The first of these, what is Western Dressage, is the most important as it provides the foundation from which all other points of development arise. How should this question be tackled? So some sub-questions are presented. Should Western saddles be put on dressage horses? Probably not. Should Western pleasure horses be put in dressage saddles? Certainly not. Should trained Western pleasure horses be put in the dressage arena and ride dressage figures? Well, at the lowest levels, the result is an 11-minute walk-trot test with no gymnastic benefit and little resemblance to classical dressage. Should an attempt be made to blend these seemingly different disciplines into one new thing? This will certainly be the most challenging solution to the problem of definition of Western Dressage. How can the discipline stay true to either foundation? And if one is chosen, which one? Answer, good horsemanship is good horsemanship through the centuries and around the world. Surely common ground can be found. How will a correct Western Dressage horse be judged? Well, I'm not going to even answer that because that's not what we're doing here. I'm going to concentrate on these other questions that are relevant to what we're trying to do here at Shadrack Farms with ranch horse versatility. Page and a half single space, lot of discussion here about what is Western Dressage. And let me tell you, in the last few minutes of this first show about Western Dressage, what we're going to define Western Dressage to be here at Shadrack Farms. We're going to try to learn things from classical dressage that will help us to be better ranch versatile partners. Can we do the things that we want to do here on this ranch, including cow work? And can we improve it by learning some of the techniques of classical dressage and applying it? Does it matter if we have an English saddle on or a Western saddle on? It's not going to matter to us. Does it matter if there's a thick blanket under the saddle or not? No, that's not going to matter to us. Does it matter that our cues are soft, light, imperceptible? Yes, that will matter to us. Do we want our horses to understand our requests and not get discombobulated, upset, stressed if they give us the wrong answer? Of course. What should we concentrate on, being that our primary sub-objective at this time is being able to change leads at our request imperceptibly, and being that we, for the challenge of it, even though it's not necessarily a ranch versatile horse exercise that will help us do our ranching work here, we'd still like to be able to do it. We want to do a half pass. And we found some videos by J.P. Giacomini, a 6-part series that we're all going to study here and see if we can learn it. Can we get the horse to understand what it is we want from them in doing a half pass? So can you speak up now, speak loud because we don't have mics on, and tell me from these first few minutes with Sadie what you're thinking is our next step.
I'm thinking that she canters at a pretty slow, easy pace, so doing a counter canter shouldn't be that difficult. Because she's already got a good pace for her canter. So, but I think we need to work on regular cantering and just getting her to transition first.
from a trot to a canter or from a walk to a canter.
Before we try to counter canter.
Okay, all right. Did she pick up the correct lead that you were asking for each time?
Yes, she did.
Yeah, okay. Okay, and if you were to advance on to trying to do a half pass, Sarah hasn't watched the videos. I've watched up through half of them. Video 3 out of 6 parts from JP. He's a natural dressage, of the natural dressage discipline. We would have to get Sadie's head and haunches bent around your leg in the same direction. We've got my bull roaring behind me, and you see Sadie was listening to it. Just let's see what we're in for. Just another prerequisite thing. Can you, with your reins, bump Sadie into a slight arc, let's say, okay, you're doing right, slight arc to the right, and then can you get her haunches over to the right? And this is a really important step in being able to get a half pass. Yeah, you can walk in a circle, so you're going to get her bend to the right in her neck and her shoulder in, so to speak, haunches in. And then to do a half pass, you know what? You're going to be having her steps, her legs cross over each other in a path that is not straight. It's really quite complicated. I'm going to have to watch the JP videos many times before I understand even what a half pass is, but I know that it is a difficult maneuver, much more difficult than a leg yield. But you know what? You learn by breaking down your task, your goal into sub-objectives, understanding them, trying them, correcting them, and that's what we're going to do here in this Western Dressage thread. We just want to be able to do these very light, very soft, very correct maneuvers without stressing out our horses. And we'll show you as we get better at it. This is Sonia Sokolow, the Urban Cowgirl. Any comments about trying to do a leg yield?
She's a little stiff with her neck in both directions, so I think that's just something we need to work on is flexibility.
Okay, and I'll bet you if we go to Google and say leg yield videos, we'll find some good short videos that will tell us what to do for the next step on that task as well. Now all of these maneuvers, whether they be classical dressage or termed Western dressage or termed cowboy dressage, which is actually the Western dressage is just a different name for what has been cowboy dressage for a long time. Whatever you want to call it, we just want our horses to understand what we're asking for. We don't want them to get stressed, and we don't want who's ever watching us know how we're telling our horse that we're doing it. That's true communication, and we'll show you how we get there, however many shows it takes us for this Western Dressage thread.
See more at www.urbancowgirlchannel.com.